Hello, I'm standing at Stockholm Photo Fair at the Sony booth with Ben, who is going to talk to us about the Sony a99 Mark II here. Right, Ben.
So, this is the Alpha 99 Mark II. It's our latest flagship for our A-mount series. It's got an amazing combination of 42.4 megapixel and 12 frames per second. Nothing else on the market can do what that does. Such high resolution at such a high frame rate. Together with that, it also has a really unique autofocus system. So like our other translucent mirror cameras, it has an autofocus sensor up here at the top of the camera, but it also uses autofocus information from the image sensor itself. So it uses a dedicated autofocus sensor up top with 79 points. That's the same sensor we use in the Alpha 77 Mark II, but it also has the same image sensor as the Alpha 7R Mark II. And that means it's got 399 phase detection autofocus points built into the image sensor. Now what that results in is a really wide autofocus area covering a massive amount of the screen and the area, so a really wide area to focus from, but it also has extremely quick and accurate focus. Wherever those autofocus points overlap, which is on every one of the 79 focus points you have in the dedicated sensor, you effectively get a hybrid cross point. We have 79 hybrid cross phase detection points. So the autofocus is really, really quick. The camera, like I say, is quick itself, 12 frames per second, with 42.4 megapixels. It will do up to about 60 shots in continuous shooting at that high resolution of 42 megapixel. That's partly down to a new front-end LSI. What that means is it's like a supporting processor, and it helps with image quality, with treating noise and resolution, but it also means this massive amount of data, kind of 500 megapixels per second kind of shooting. It can handle all that information because of this new front-end LSI. So up to about 60 shots in JPEG, I think it's about 54 in RAW, you can shoot that 12 frames per second, 42 megapixels. In addition, you get a 5-axis stabilizer inside, so 5-axis in-body stabilization. This is the first time in A-mount that we had a 5-axis stabilizer. Our other A-mount bodies all have in-body, but those are 2-axis. You now are able to correct across pitch, yaw, X, Y, and the roll axis. Basically meaning that things like telephoto shooting shake, or macro shooting shake, or long exposure or movie shake you get can all be corrected in camera. So whatever lens you put on the front of the camera, it's going to be stabilized. Furthermore, we have 4K video shooting. So you have 4K video recording for the first time on A-mount, and if you're using the Super 35 area of the camera, of the sensor, then it will be able to do full pixel readout without pixel binning. But you can also still do full frame 4K shooting, which again a lot of our competitors can't. You do get a lot of professional features on the camera which come from our Pro Video side, so things like picture profile with S-Log2 and S-Log3 and so on. You can have clean HDMI out, recording onto external recorders, and we also integrated a new feature for us on these models of slow and quick, which you might know from our professional camcorders. So you can do slow motion inside the camera, you can also do quick motion like a time-lapse, that video coming straight out onto the memory card. Speaking of memory cards, it's dual SD card slots. Top slot does still take Memory Stick Pro Duo, of course, as well. And on top of that, we're still using the same batteries that we had before on our A-mount, the M series, the MPF M500H. We have a magnesium alloy body. It's actually relatively quite compact. It's about 8% smaller than the predecessor, the Alpha 99. And what's great about the size, though, is that you can still use the vertical battery grip of the Alpha 77 and the Alpha 77 Mark II. So there's great compatibility for current A-mount users out there. Speaking of those kind of points, you get the usual terminals on here, such as a microphone jack, a headphone jack, PC sync socket for flash. We have our multi-terminals, we call it, which accepts micro USB, but also our remotes for firing the camera as well on there. And you still get our older remote connection as well, which we inherited from Minolta. So hopefully current users out there who've already got cables can use that on the camera as well.
Another possibly a little bit rude question. Many people have speculated that the A-mount was dead, actually, and that the SLT line was dead. You haven't updated for a while. So why did you decide to update it now with the A99 Mark II?
Well, like I say, we've always asked questions about future products, and you've probably heard from us many times that we can't tell you anything. What we have consistently said in recent years is we will continue to develop A-mount. We will continue to develop A-mount. We will continue to develop A-mount. We continue to develop A-mount, and everyone's gone, we're so surprised. When you look at the Alpha 99 Mark II, though, if you look at it at its predecessors, the Alpha 900 came out in 2008. The Alpha 99 came out in 2012, there was a 4-year gap. We're now 2016, there's been a 4-year gap since the Alpha 99, so it's not quite as strange as everybody said. And also last year we brought out the Alpha 68, so sometimes we get criticised for bringing out too many cameras, sometimes we get criticised for bringing out not enough cameras. We're trying to find a balance in between. But like I say, we are dedicated to A-mount as well as E-mount. We have been very successful with E-mount, but like I say, we hope that our A-mount users out there really like the look of the Alpha 99 Mark II, and we're really hoping it suits their needs.
Right, and for those who are looking for a high-spec, high-megapixel count camera, why should you choose this one instead of the A7R Mark II, or possibly the A7R Mark II versus this one?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Which camera should you go for? There's no clear answer for outright say this one is better or this one is better. For the Alpha 7R Mark II, you get a smaller camera. Okay, and it's more adaptable. We do not guarantee third-party compatibility, but you may be able to put other lenses onto that camera as well. A lot of people like the portability, the light style of it, and the fact that you can use potentially other lenses on there as well. What the Alpha 99 Mark II brings to the game is that high-speed shooting. So offering up to 12 frames per second, again, that's something which, for sports users, wildlife users, hopefully that's really going to attract them. I've spoken to a lot of our customers and also ambassadors as well who shoot that kind of thing, have been using our A-mount in the past, and they're really delighted with that. So if quick action and speed in terms of, like say, 12 frames per second in such a high resolution is what you're after, the Alpha 99 Mark II is the camera for you. The Alpha 7R Mark II, like I say, you have that advantage that it's a smaller camera, it's more portable, you're going to have to bring it everywhere with you, and it's potentially more adaptable. So whichever one might suit your needs more for your particular usages.
Yeah, and I've also heard a lot of people complaining about the not dual SD card slot, and now this one has. So maybe the people who wanted the high-spec camera but couldn't get, didn't want the A7R Mark II.
We also we've had, like I say, we listened to a lot of feedback from our customers, and actually we had a lot of feedback that we use SD cards on our cameras. And the thing is, I know what you mean with there are of course our advantages of XQD, and we use that on some of our products. But for here, we also had a lot of feedback from customers that they already have I don't know how many SD cards, and I know from experience if we change batteries, if we change media, we also get a lot of complaints. But the feedback we had
everyone going berserk
was SD card as a suitable choice. And like I say, with the camera, you can still shoot up to, like I say, more than 50 shots in RAW at 12 frames per second at 42 megapixel, and it's
full frame.
Full frame. So I'm sorry if that's not enough for you. We will try harder, but that's a massive amount of information. And when you think, kind of like you're shooting for around about 5 seconds at 12 frames per second, and that will meet, the demands of most kind of testing situations. When you think about it, like I say, you're probably most likely to do a burst for a second, and maybe you've got a moving subject, and there's a gap for a second or two, it'll be processing some images, do a burst again for another second. That's probably more realistic kind of usages in there. When you look at that as well, something which we've added onto this camera which we've not had previously is the ability to be able to access some of those pictures while it's processing them. So some of our current cameras, when you're taking maybe lots of shots in a row with RAW, as soon as you press the playback button, it might come up with a message to say you're writing to the camera. On the Alpha 99 Mark II, because of this new front-end LSI that I mentioned before, you'll actually be able to play back the images. So while it's actually still processing them, you can start playing back, zooming in on images, and on the top left-hand corner of the screen, it will also give you a countdown of how many images it's got left to process in total. So that's something else that's been developed further on here to give you better operation of the camera, even while you're doing these big bursts with lots of information.
Sounds like a lot of new features. Well, that's the Sony a99 Mark II. Thank you, Ben. That was very informative, and please click like, subscribe, and I'll see you later here on board studio. Bye.
Thank you very much.